So let's quickly recap how Group F has ended. We had said at the 3:30 p.m. show that the calculators will be out and yellow cards and disciplinary points will have to be closely monitored. But in the end, it did not matter. Sweden's thrashing of Mexico sees them take top position, while Mexico keep their record of qualifying for every round of 16 stage since 1994 intact. At the bottom there, Germany finished fourth and last. Eugensen, Germany have finished fourth in this group. They finished fourth. I can't believe what's just happened.
Who would have expected, you know? Well, but the way they played, you could have. I think we should have seen it coming. First game, the second game, and now third game. They've been too predictable in the way of the attack. It's been slow, lethargic. Ozil looks like as if he doesn't want to play. So it's all has to be with the players. It looks like they're not motivated at all.
70% possession for Germany, 70%. Still they end up losing. Footballing gods aren't just cruel. This is brutal.
Yep. Of course, you know, Eugene mentioned Ozil there, you know, a player of immense quality on his day, but I don't think he has enough of good days, you know, at club or international level. You know, he does have that quality. He was only second to Kroos tonight in total passes. He had more successful dribbles. You know, most of his passes are in the attacking third, but it's easy to play sideways. It's very difficult to play against a block. When you have two banks of four, it's very tough. But these types of players, that's why they paid so much money. That's why they get into the top teams in the world, because they have done that.
They're game changers. Exactly you didn't see any game changers in this German side, barring Toni Kroos last minute in that last game against Sweden.
That's where we, like you said, the selection of the team. Leroy Sané would have given a different dimension to the team. He could penetrate. He could give a different dimension. So
since you bring this up, Joachim Löw made 5 changes. That's a lot of changes to make for a game which you have to win to get into the next round.
I think he must have been too overconfident of South Korea, but Korea just showed that.
They waited for the moment and they took it. You know, just looking at this German team, looking at German football over the years, they're known to be ruthless, they're known to be efficient. While you could say they were efficient because they got the right number of possession, they were not ruthless. And this World Cup has shown that if you slip up even one bit, somebody's going to hurt you big time.
I'd probably use the word toothless, to be honest.
And when did we last say that about a German team?
You can't, never. You know, this is the first time it's happened. So, you know, I think also when we've talked about this footballing god scenario, 4 chances, half chances, fell to Mats Hummels tonight in the penalty area. You know, late on in the game also. I mean, you don't really want your chances falling to him either. He's just come back with a neck injury, and then 3 of those end up on his head. He should have scored from there. A player of his calibre, at club level, what he's done over the past few years, and winning, of course, the last World Cup, he should be scoring them.
Yeah. Why this is huge, and I think we should tell our viewers why this is huge, that even when Brazil were hammered 7-1 last time, it was still a World Cup semi-final. Anything could happen. Germany, West Germany in a previous avatar, had not lost before the quarterfinals since 1954 when they won it. You've had really bad teams. They say that 2002 was a boring team. I remember that World Cup. They still reached the finals when they lost to Brazil. This is why this is massive. They've not gone past the first round. Who would have thought?
No one would have thought. I was expecting yesterday, I said it would cruise. But like I said, they've been very, very lethargic. It's like you want to keep the ball, or you want to do anything with the ball. You just keep the ball rotating from one side of the end to the other side, not really doing anything, not even harming the defense at all. They're not even attempting anything.
When you talk about Kroos, you talk about Ozil, you talk about the likes of Müller, champions. We all know what they can do. But why could no one, like we saw with Messi yesterday as well, give them that impetus? Why do you think they just couldn't impose themselves in this match? I don't think South Korea really sat back that much. South Korea had great counters as well, so they were leaving the Germans open. As he's saying, is it because Joachim Löw got the selection completely wrong and they just could not cope with the style what they were expected to play? I thought they would stick to the same formation which they won the last game. He changed it again.
I think also what's really key that we think about here is the fact that winning is not easy. And when you get to the top, it's not easy to stay there. We've talked about it at club level, even our experience last going off, working together. You have to keep changing, keep evolving, keep developing. Just tweaks here and there, but Germany played the same system, more or less, that they played in the World Cup in 2014. The same type of players. You know, as he introduced enough of that small change, you'd have to say no.
Did he make the mistake? He went to the Confederation. He still had a lot of players from that squad, but when you see the people who started here, he went with the experienced hands, the Ozils, the Mullers, the Neuers, Cruz. I mean,
yeah, but when you come to this stage, you obviously want experience. You don't want the side to be too young, you know. You want that experience to be there. But I think the experienced players had failed. I feel they failed. Like today, he didn't even start Muller, but I felt that he should have started Muller in a big game. He's a big game player. He can change. But when he came on, he didn't look like he could do anything though. So I don't know, could be that he was angry that he couldn't start.
I think Mario Gomez is a poor selection. You know, you had Sandro Wagner.
Yeah.
He's had a terrific time before his move to Bayern.
And it's Pedersen who got a lot of goals as well in Bundesliga.
Yeah, so you know, there's two options. Could he have gone with them a little bit more dynamic, something more about them? You know, it's disappointing. Really, really, really disappointing.
Will there be a reaction? Will there be a reaction? This is a very proud footballing nation. When they lost to England in a World Cup qualifier 2001, 5-1 I think it was, they overhauled the entire structure. You saw the Germans team invest in youth, the league invest in youth, and you had this assembly line of players coming through. All that suddenly has, you know, you're wondering, you're looking at this German team wondering what happens. They could still put a team on the park for the next major and still be contenders. But something's gone massively wrong. Is it the jaded factor that Joachim Löw made the same mistake as Marcelo Lippi in 2010 when he took almost the same squad which won 2006? Vicente Del Bosque, same mistake 2014. Spain paid the price, so did Italy. We didn't see this one coming, but he's paid the price.
Could be what you said, jaded. Players could be tired after a long season. May just want to finish it off, but a World Cup, who want to play the World Cup? So, but the youth system in Germany is very good. Yeah, they have good, the clubs that are there, they have very good, the clubs are good, they're doing well in the international stages as well. So what we do is it the coach? We want a change of a coach, change of a system, or where you playing style?
Let's talk about the coach. He's been there since 2006 when Jürgen Klinsmann left the job after leading them to the semis. It's been 12 years. He's also signed a contract till 2022, Jogi Löw. But you can't survive a first-round exit, especially looking at the history of the Germans, looking at the recent record in majors, always being there, always contending, semis, finals. Go back to that history of being at the quarterfinal at least at every World Cup since '54.
Two things will happen. They'll have the review because of the way that they are structured, so to speak. He'll either have to leave or they'll give him a chance to start the qualifiers. And if half of this team has not changed in terms of the crux of the squad, and he brings these new players in and gives them a chance, then they'll cut him during qualifying. I think that will be a directive from the DFB that he has to change something. Either he changes because of this, because it's not enough. They won't reboot the system. It's a fantastic system.
Yeah, it's working.
It's a fantastic system. There's no doubt about it. He has to change, or he puts his hand up and says, made mistakes. It's not for me, but of course anybody is going to sign a contract. You know, it's going to be worth a lot of money. So he's going to sign a contract, that's fine. If they pay him out now, it's too much money. Germans are very, as I just said, very structured, systematic. Review, you change half the squad in the next qualifiers because Khedira, Gomez, Hummels maybe. Are they at the end of their tether a little bit? Boateng also is another one. He's cost them. You know, if he had played tonight, would have been different. No red card. Potentially, you don't know. Because he's got pace and he's got power. So I think those two things will happen. Joachim Löw out, or what will happen is you'll see a completely different team, refresh squad during the qualifiers for the Euros.
There's also the curse of champions to talk about. France 2002, Italy 2010, Spain 2014, Germany 2018. If you're a European team and you win the World Cup, what happens when you go to the next one in Qatar?
Do you think it could be of pressure of being the present champions? Could it be?
Well, if you look at the last, you know, all football, right, club and international level, how many teams can you really say won and kept winning and kept winning and kept winning? Probably Manchester United, sorry.
Maybe Spain. Maybe Spain. Euros 2008, World Cup and 2012. Even had France 2019, they won and they won the Euros in 2000.
But really, it's only a 4-year span, right? So we're talking about the World Cup, yeah? So of course I've just delved a little bit into the club side. But my comparison is that it's very, very tough to stay at the top because people are chasing you.
Yeah.
And this generation, people are studying each other. These smaller teams are studying the bigger teams very well.
Yeah. Who would have thought, Hughinson? Yeah, Sweden and Mexico are going to go through. You thought Mexico favourites to go through, especially after they won their first 2 games. But what a performance from Sweden. They are a team which wins 1-0 mostly. This is for the first time in a long, long period they've actually scored 3.
I know. It's impressive. You know, that's what I think, the motivation, the determination in the players, knowing that 1 goal is not going to be sufficient for them. 2. Make it 3 even. And Mexico were almost out. But
yeah, they almost thought, and at the end they thought they were going home. Then the news came in. But for Mexico, you would have felt bad. You would have felt bad that they're going to go home, if Germany had got the win, that they were going home with 2 victories, while Argentina have scrapped their way into the second round.
I think from Mexico's point of view, you know, everybody wanted them to go through, and they deserve the right word in football. I've viewed it so many times, individually and as a group. I think based on these 2 games, everybody wanted them to go through because of the way that they've played, with the style, the coach, the story behind the coach of his education, as we mentioned on an earlier show again. And from the perspective of Sweden, really what star players do they have? Yeah. Not really. Good players, all playing in different clubs in different leagues.
The most famous players in the US.
Yes.
Zlatan.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, those days are gone at the moment of the Henrik Larssons of the world. Zlatan, you know, they're not there anymore, but what they have got, as we said this afternoon, a team. Yeah. Collectiveness.
And we saw them come together. We saw them come together when Domas got racially abused as well. Are you seeing a template now? If you're going up against the big team, soak up the pressure, hit them on the counter. That's what Netherlands did in Spain. They probably didn't realize what they were going to do for the rest of the world. But we've seen this in this World Cup.
I mean, when you're a team game, the moment you stick as a unit, everything. It's not like a twig. You break a twig, a single twig, it's easy to break. But if you combine too many twigs and you try to break them, it's hard. So it's hard to break down a team that's well knit. So the same thing is going to happen. I'm afraid what's going to happen with the Brazil game. I'm sorry, I'm afraid because of what all the teams have been going through right now. The smaller teams have been doing really big against the bigger teams. So it's going to be interesting, very, very interesting.
Okay, you brought it up, so that's where I will head to, because there will be no Brazil-Germany round of 16 clash as most of us were expecting. Germany are out, and the Seleção still need to confirm their berth in the knockouts. The 5-time world champions go up against Serbia in what could be a straight shoot-off. Switzerland too have work to do. They need a point against Costa Rica to feel safe, while a win will guarantee qualification.